Today, we're going to unlock a skill you use every single day, but probably don't think about, well, strategically. We are going to build your secret reading toolkit so you can start reading smarter, not harder. So let's open up that toolbox.
Okay, quick question. Right now, as your eyes are moving across this slide, are you doing it right? I know it's a weird question, but it's a powerful one, because the way you are reading this very sentence might not be the best way to read the next thing you pick up.
You know, for most of us, reading is just reading. It's one speed, one mode, kind of one size fits all. But that's like using a hammer for every single job in the house. A novel isn't a legal contract, and a bus schedule definitely isn't an opinion piece. The solution? We gotta stop reading on autopilot and start using a dedicated toolkit.
So, let's start building that kit. The first and honestly the most important set of tools are all about your purpose. It all starts with asking yourself one simple question before you even begin. Why am I reading this? Trust me, the answer changes everything.
Okay, first tool out of the box, think of this as your magnifying glass. It's called intensive reading. This is what you use when you need to understand everything. You know, like when you're analyzing a poem for class, digging into a scientific paper, or, and this is a big one, going through a legal contract before you sign it. The goal here isn't speed, not at all. It's about total, deep comprehension. Now let's swap that out for a wide-angle lens, extensive reading. This is all about reading for the joy of it, forgetting the general gist. When you're lost in a great novel on the beach or just flipping through a magazine, you're not dissecting every single sentence, right? You're just absorbing the overall story, the main ideas. And honestly, you're building your reading fluency while you're at it. And here, you can really see the contrast side by side. On one hand, you've got intensive reading. The goal is complete, total understanding, down to every last detail. But on the other hand, it's all about the general flow and pure pleasure of extensive reading. These are two completely different tools for two completely different jobs. All right, another essential tool in the kit gives you a sort of helicopter view. It's called skimming. And this is often the very first tool you'll use to do a quick assessment. You're not really reading in the traditional sense. You're just glancing at headings, first sentences, trying to answer one question. Is this thing actually worth my time? It's perfect for deciding if you want to commit to a long news article or maybe buy a book. Now, think of our next tool, scanning, as your personal searchlight. In this case, you have a specific target in mind. You don't care about the main idea at all. Nope. You are hunting for one single piece of data. A name in a phone book, a departure time on a train schedule, a specific date in a history textbook. Your eyes just dart across the page until, bam, you hit your target. So here's the crucial difference, right? Skimming asks, hey, what is this thing about? But scanning asks, where is that specific fact I need? One is for the big picture, the other is for finding a single pixel. And knowing the difference is going to save you an incredible amount of time. Now for the final tool in our purpose kit. This one is like the judge's gavel, critical reading. This isn't just about understanding what the text says. It's about questioning it. You're actively analyzing the author's argument, you're looking for bias, you're checking their evidence. This is the tool you pull out for a political opinion piece, or when you're analyzing a company's big annual report. You're not just a reader anymore, you're a judge. Okay, so once you know why you're reading, you can start thinking about how you're going to do it. So let's look at the actual mechanics, the techniques your brain uses to process the words on the page. Because look, choosing the right purpose is only half the battle. Mastering the technique is how you win. The first one is the one you are probably using this very second, silent reading. This is our default engine, right? It's the workhorse we use for reading articles on our phones, studying in a library, or enjoying a book on the bus. It's private, it's efficient, and it's almost always much, much faster than reading out loud. Hey, pay attention for a second. As you were reading that quote just now, did you hear a voice in your head? Well, that's it. That's called subvocalization. It's a completely natural part of silent reading for most of us. It's just your brain's way of sounding out the words internally as you go. And that brings us to a really specialized power tool, speed reading. Now, what's so interesting about this is that a key technique for speed reading is learning how to quiet that inner voice, to minimize that subvocalization we just talked about. The goal is to process whole blocks of words visually, letting you get through huge volumes of text, like a student cramming before a big exam. So we've got our purpose tools, and we've got our technique tools. Now for the most important part, becoming a strategic reader by putting it all together. It's about consciously choosing the right tool for the job every single time.
And there it is, your entire toolkit on one slide. This is your quick reference guide, your cheat sheet. Before you read anything, a quick glance here will tell you exactly which tool you need to pull out for the job. Let's see how a pro uses these tools on something like a dense business report. First, you'd skim the summary to figure out what it's even about. Then you'd scan for your name or your department's projects. Once you find those specific sections, you switch to intensive reading to understand every single detail. And finally, you pull out your critical reading skills to evaluate the report's big conclusions. See? That's 4 different tools for just one document. And that, right there, is the whole secret. Strategic reading isn't some magical ability you're born with. It's a skill. It's about being conscious and deliberate in how you approach a text. The best readers, they make a choice before they even begin. They look at the task and they select the right tool from their kit. So now you have the toolkit. You've got the magnifying glass, the wide-angle lens, the helicopter, the searchlight, and the judge's gavel. The only question left is, what are you going to build with them? How will you use these tools to learn faster, understand deeper, and finally conquer that pile of things you've been meaning to read? The choice is yours.